behind us above where the NFC Championship game is happening today. But why go this far away whenever we could get even closer? With our team of men who have been on the ground here over the course of the last few days, we have Seth Wells from WILX in Lansing, Kevin McNulty checking in from WLUC TV6 in Michigan's Upper Peninsula in Marquette, and Mark Pearson rounds us out there, coming to us from WNEM in Saginaw. Two of the three guys are inside the stadium right now, and we have Kevin outside with the shades, of course, in sunny California. Kevin, I want to start with you, and then we're going to go inside the stadium here and check in with Seth and Mark. You're seeing a lot of Lions fans showing up here, are you not?
Yeah, I mean, less than 5 hours until kickoff, Josh. So you'd expect all the Lions fans that flew out here to be out here earlier. But, yeah, there has been quite a few Honolulu blue jerseys crossing right behind me and heading into the stadium. So as we should know, based on the number of fans we've talked to this weekend, based on how Lions fans traveled throughout the season, whether it was in New Orleans, in Green Bay, in Tampa Bay earlier in the season, kind of been a constant. And even when the prices are up, it's still happening here today in Santa Clara.
So that is the look from outside the stadium. Seth and Mark inside, so our viewers know here, you guys might be hearing some of the intros or the in-stadium sound because they're getting ready for the game in there, so it might be a little loud. If we have to drop out, we'll do that. But let's start with you, Seth. What are you seeing on the field? Take us around what you're seeing there on the field inside Levi Stadium before fans get in.
Yeah, Josh, let me flip the camera around. I can kind of show you roughly what it looks like here inside of Levi's Stadium. So if I flip the camera around, we got a lot of there's the Fox crew getting ready for the national broadcast. They've been set up since early this morning. The field just opening up for all the pregame festivities as they are working around. You can see Mark actually, you can see Mark waving at me if you look carefully. But yeah, there's obviously the gates are not open yet at this time, but they are getting the pregame stuff ready to go. They've been doing some run-throughs here at Levi's Stadium, and yeah, kickoff is not too far away, guys, and that is something that a lot of people obviously looking forward to tonight at the NFC Championship game. Lions and 49ers pretty soon here. In the next couple hours, we'll start to see the players filter in and start warming up on the field as well. So we're looking forward to that.
6:30 Eastern kickoff here from Levi Stadium. Let's go out to Mark now. Mark, your perspective of the atmosphere here in Santa Clara, because it's been awesome to see just your coverage out here with between the three of you, the excitement from the fans. You were out and about last night checking in at some of the bars in San Jose. Man, they were packed. Lions fans are showing up and showing out. Tell us about your experience.
Oh, man. Last night I went downtown San Jose, and all of the streets were Honolulu blue. It was fantastic. It was an electric atmosphere downtown. And we specifically went into Rookies, and that's the video you're seeing there on your screen, and it was wall to wall with Lions fans, and they were hooting and hollering. Even a Niners fan walked in the door, and everybody booed. So they were giving him the business in his own town, which is wild. But the Lions fans have taken over this city so far, and specifically Hall of Fame fan, super fan, Mr. Crackman. And he had great sound to give us last night inside the bar. Check this out.
I'm going to play all 2 minutes of this, Mark, and I'll tell the viewers here it is worth sticking around for all 2 minutes of this. Take a listen to it.
You know what? This is amazing. Tomorrow's my birthday, 72 years old. They had a nice party here, the fans, the foundation. It's a dynasty. We're building a dynasty. You know, it's like 57 years ago, we beat the 49ers to go into our last only championship game, 57. Then we went to Cleveland and beat them. But knowing my father's, right, this is my dad. He passed the end of April. He's 95. My buddy Danny Stefanski, they're upstairs. We're all together. What do you say about the Lions organization? I mean, this is so awesome. What winning does to communities, to family, we're all together as one. And they're going to go, I'm telling you right now, they're going to run that ball right down the 49ers' throat. Goff's going to have a great day. Hey, we're bringing history. History is going to be starting again tomorrow. It's been a magical season from day one in Kansas City. Tomorrow, at my birthday, 70 years old, we are going to be a win and on our way to the only Super Bowl. And that is a beautiful thing. Woo! Forward down the field, the lights team and will not yield. And when the blue and silver wave, stand and cheer the brave. Rah, rah, rah. Go hard with the gun. Without you, we'll keep you fight down the field and gain a Lion victory. Oh, who loves you, baby? In homes we trust. Dan Campbell for president, baby. Woo!
Dan Campbell's going to win the presidential election this year if this guy has anything to say about it. Man, that was awesome. And that is Lions Nation right here, out here in Santa Clara. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry there's some music going on behind me, so I didn't catch your question. But that's a super fan for a reason, and you can certainly see why, Josh.
All right, well, that's happening out or inside the stadium. Let's go back outside and check in with Kevin here. So, Kevin, last night we had you on 13 Action News in Toledo talking about how to stop the Shanahan offense in San Francisco. There are so many weapons on this team. Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel cleared to play, by the way. That's a big headline coming out of this morning. Of course, dealing with some shoulder injury issues, was taken out of the game last week against Green Bay, missed most of that game. So, Kevin McNulty outside of Levi Stadium, what does Dan Campbell say about the Shanahan offense there in San Fran and how to stop them?
Well, as you'd expect, Josh, at this point in the season, Campbell was very complimentary of what the 49ers have done all season, really been doing for a couple of years since Kyle Shanahan has gotten to San Francisco. He's taken them to a Super Bowl, numerous NFC Championship games like we have here today. And you mentioned it, Deebo Samuel being a part of that today is going to be huge for San Francisco. If you remember, he had a shoulder injury against Cleveland earlier in the season, and Brock Purdy really didn't look like the quarterback he was earlier in the season when Deebo Samuel was out. So that's significant to have him back. That shoulder injury was just a bone bruise to his shoulder. So he's out there, and Dan Campbell obviously had a lot of things to say about what Kyle Shanahan does that could cause problems for the Lions defense.
He's an excellent game plan designer, also calling a game. And then they got playmakers. They got players, and they got a heck of an O-line that's pretty nasty. They have a mentality about the way they do it. It's physical. There's nothing easy about what they do.
And so last week, San Francisco hosts Green Bay, trailed 21-14 entering that fourth quarter, but rallied behind Brock Purdy, who had one of the better drives, if not the best drive of his young career. On defense, guys, I don't know if the guys inside the stadium can hear me again. If so, let's go to Seth for this. Stopping the 49ers on one side of the ball or the other, what's going to be the bigger challenge today for Detroit?
If you ask me, I think it has to be stopping the 49ers offense. I think they have so many weapons, and I also think that might be the weaker side of the ball for the Lions. So I think that their defense going up against the San Francisco offense is the key, and making sure that they kind of try to make them one-dimensional as much as you can. Christian McCaffrey is probably the best running back in football, one of the best weapons out of the backfield as well in football. So he can really do everything. You just mentioned Deebo Samuel is playing today. And then, of course, they have a star tight end in George Kittle. So they have a lot of weapons. This Lions defense has proven to be vulnerable at times this season. And I think that's the big key today. I think the Lions offense has proven they can move it against most defenses. I think they can beat themselves sometimes, but it's hard to really stop this Lions offense. So I think the key for the Lions will be their defense against the 49ers offense.
We're going to get back to Levi Stadium in just a minute. Going to squeeze in a quick break. After the break, I want to show you the drone show that happened in Detroit last night and also show you one fan who made his dedication to the team permanent before the season. Stick around. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
5-star rated Med1 Care, a popular choice for home health therapy services, invites you to leave your home and follow the golden path to Med1 Care Therapy Partners, our new outpatient physical therapy and rehab clinic offering physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, wound care, and more. We accept Medicare and most major insurances, giving you peace of mind so you can focus on just getting better. If you're establishing a new therapy or simply looking for better results, we invite you to call Med1 Care Therapy Partners. Visit med1caretherapypartners.org.
The road to the NFC Championship. The Detroit Lions take on the San Francisco 49ers. Sponsored by Med1 Care. Now, here's your host, Josh Crew.
Detroit Lions trying to get to their first Super Bowl. 4 teams in the NFL currently do not have a Super Bowl appearance. Cleveland, Jacksonville, Houston among the other 4. One fan in Michigan, one diehard Lions fan, thinks that this year is different, and he did so, or he showed his loyalty to the team by getting a tattoo on his arm, but he didn't get it yesterday. He didn't get it last week. He didn't get it when they won the division. He got this before the season, boys. He was confident that this year was going to be different and that the Lions were going to win the Super Bowl. So, Mark, describe Lions fandom here. I know you touched on it a little bit with the super fan. The casual fan in Detroit here. Why stick around with the team that has broken their hearts so much over the course of the last 3 decades as they waited to get back to this point?
4 words: Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. Those are your 4 words, because those 2 men have changed this organization for, hopefully, Lions fans at least hope, decades to come. Brad Holmes has been a draft guru. He has picked guys up. Look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, a late round pick. Derek Barnes, who made the interception last week. Game Sealer, late pick. Penei Sewell, a first-round pick, but they hit it right on the money. And then obviously Dan Campbell, a leader of men. He's able to tell these guys what to do, how to do it, and they execute to perfection. So those 2 guys are the reason why the Detroit Lions are as relevant as they are today, being in the NFC Championship Game. And I believe that's why fans all over, whoever the Lions fans are, because we've talked to them from Wyoming, Florida, Texas, doesn't matter where you're coming from, but everybody has hope because of those 2 guys. And then there's the guy by the name of Jared Goff, who grew up right around the corner here. March 18th, 2021 is when they traded for Jared Goff. Some people said he was just a great quarterback at the time. They made it very clear that he was not, and he has proven that so far. There were reports circling before that we got in the stadium saying that the Lions are going to obviously enter negotiation talks for extending him in the offseason. That becomes quite apparent and obvious what he's done this season. But Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, that is why people should be excited for Detroit.
And you're talking about the draft and how good of a job that the Lions have done in the draft. A Michigan man is leading this team on defense, and I want to go back outside to Kevin for this question. So Kevin, let's talk about Aiden Hutchinson a little bit, because that guy's a dog. This guy is a baller, and he is just straight up Michigan. Look at this video, because this kid was in the stands when the Lions were not the brand new Lions that we know of late. This was last week after Detroit took down Tampa and advanced to the NFC Championship. What do you think's going through this Michigan kid's mind as he's on the field here?
You know, Josh, I'll share with you in the locker room after the win over Tampa Bay last week. Hutch wasn't doing a lot of celebrating. It was pretty stoic and obviously kind of taking in, like you see there, what he did on the field and what he brought to Detroit in those 2 games at home. But there was a sense that he wanted to keep it rolling. And all those guys obviously felt like that, but there wasn't a whole lot of celebrating for Aiden Hutchinson because he wants this to keep rolling. And now they have an opportunity to do it. Obviously, a very big challenge ahead of them in San Francisco today. But yeah, you're right. He's Michigan through and through, grew up in Plymouth, went to high school in Dearborn, played college football in Ann Arbor, and now he plays professional football in Detroit. So his whole life is there, and he's one of the symbols of this Lions team that has brought them back to relevance. And Hutchinson was also a part of Michigan's resurgence and beating Ohio State for the first time in many years in 2021 and going to the college football playoff before he went on to play professionally. And thinking about it, the Lions are full of a bunch of guys who have been a part of turnarounds like that in the past. Look at where Jared Goff was with the Rams his rookie season. He didn't win a game as their starting quarterback, and before he left there and was traded to Detroit, he had them in the Super Bowl. So he's another example of a guy that just are built for turning places around, and Aiden Hutchinson will, maybe see what he can do out there on the field today. He has been their most impactful player on the defensive line all season long. Certainly in the playoffs, it's the same case. So maybe he makes Brock Purdy's life a little bit more difficult today. Of course, the Niners offensive line will have something to say about that.
And the fans here, guys, are treating every win as they should, like it's the Super Bowl. And I think that's something interesting that you put out, that Hutz wasn't really celebrating. You didn't really see a lot of the guys going crazy because they know there's more work to be done. This was last night in Detroit, a drone show in downtown showing All Grit, NFC North champions. There's a beat the 49ers thing, too. These drone shows are really cool, by the way, if you've ever seen one. Folks. But fans are treating every win like it's the Super Bowl, and they absolutely should, and they deserve to. But we'll go back inside, and either of you guys who are in there can take this one. The fact that what is the mentality for the players here going into this game, not treating it like the end goal, because it is not the end goal?
Yeah, I can take this one, Mark. I think the Lions players, they're looking at this game in a similar way that Lions fans are. They know how important this game is, not only for the franchise, but for the state of Michigan. And I mentioned it before we came out here in our coverage plan, even talking about this game, saying if the Lions were to even make the Super Bowl, just appear in the Super Bowl, it would be the largest sports story that the state of Michigan has ever seen. I know that we're coming off the heels of a Michigan football national championship. We've seen the Tigers win the World Series. We've seen the Pistons win the NBA title. We've seen the Red Wings have success. We have never seen the Lions in the Super Bowl. And just getting there would be one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest sports story in Michigan's history. So I think the players know that. I think they understand the gravity of the situation. They've obviously seen the increased media attention ahead of this game. Dan Campbell has talked about that on a number of occasions this week, about how many different ways these guys are getting pulled, trying to get interviews and questions, and their family and friends are reaching out to them. They're hearing so much more about their success right now than they're used to. And that's what kind of comes with the territory of winning. And winning franchises, they're used to that. But the Detroit Lions are not. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that going into today's game, and if they were to win today, how they handle it going forward. But I think these players fully understand how big of a game this is. And also, I think there's a little bit of nerves that going into a game like this. This is the biggest stage that many of them, not all of them, but many of them have ever been on in their careers. So this is going to be interesting to see how they handle the stage tonight. But I think that it's one thing that everyone is understanding. This is massive, not only for the franchise, but for the fan base as well.
Okay, so Mark, I'll ask you about the experience part of this then too, because the San Francisco 49ers are a team who have been on this NFC Championship stage before. Within the last few years, it's been a few decades since we've seen the Lions on this stage. There are guys on the team who have playoff experience, who have NFC Championship experience, but what do you expect to see early on in the game? What are you going to be watching for to see if those nerves or if that experience is going to play a factor?
Yeah, especially January of 1992 was the last time the Lions were in an NFC Championship game. And like you said, 49ers, it's not a same old for them, but it almost helps the Lions not knowing what to expect, right? They're not a
defense is doing. Maybe send Jameson Williams on a nose out, or you allow David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs, and really try to establish that running game. For the Lions. It's really interesting early on. The kind of risk that the Lions take both offensively and defensively. I think Aaron Glenn did a great job because they left great time to split. They got to Baker Mayfield on opportunities. I think that could play a big factor in this game as well. Also, I have to note, there's a band obviously that you could probably hear behind me right now, and they were just playing "Don't Stop Believing," but instead of saying Gordon Race South Detroit, it said Gordon Race San Francisco. Seems like sound effects. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I know some people who are going to take that one personally. Seth, actually, Kevin, I want to round it out with you here and talk about Jared Goff one more time. Because This is a guy who just Detroit all of a sudden loves. And the love has been building over the course of the last few years, but you get your team to an NFC Championship and you're going to have scenes like this. The Jared Goff chants breaking out, of course, at Ford Field, but also at the Pistons game, at a Red Wings game. Heck, they were cheering Jared Goff at a high school cheerleading competition this weekend. So what pressure is on him, and how has he been responding to the increased attention and the love that this city has been showing him?
Yeah, we were having some fun with that one tonight, or Twitter was, I should say, with putting the audio over just somebody walking through the grocery store chanting Jared Goff. Jared Goff chants breaking out at church on this Sunday morning. You never know where they're going to break out because the city and the state has really embraced this guy. And that question was posed to him earlier this week. How are you handling going home? And how much this city has embraced you as their chosen one, their hero, their savior, whatever you want to call it. But he's the quarterback of the Detroit Lions, and they're in the NFC Championship game. So it kind of comes with the territory, and I think Jared understands that. And, talking with his high school coach this week, a guy who was texting him this week, Jared knows that this is all part of it. This is all part of it. And that's actually the line he used to describe the situation he's in, where he's going back to his home area to try and beat the team that he grew up rooting for, while the entire state of Michigan is heralding this guy as its greatest sports hero in a long, long time. And it's true, and Jared gets all of it, and it doesn't seem to be fazing him really at all.
Kickoff from Santa Clara, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. About ready to see who's going to come out of the AFC as the Ravens get set for kickoff against Kansas City in that championship game. But that is going to do it for our championship crew here. For Seth Wells, Kevin McNulty, and Mark Pearson, I'm Josh Krupp saying farewell from Toledo. We cannot wait to see what the Detroit Lions do today. We can't wait to see our team's coverage later tonight. Guys, it's been fun hanging out with you. We appreciate it. Good luck there at Levi Stadium. We'll see you live tonight on Action News at 11 and throughout the rest of the day on social media. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
All right.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here.